Okay, but this is the primary core of what we need to control and manage. Okay, and the reason it's called margin level is because this is an account. This is your account. Okay, and this is your not only your account, but it's called your margin account. Okay, because if you weren't given this margin account, most of us would not be able to participate in the market. You see, this is how it was before. Before margin accounts were available to the public, it was hard for the public to participate in the stock market or any other market. Why? Because it required you to buy large quantities of units. Okay? So in order to participate, you would have had to have enough to purchase 100,000 units. Okay? And if, for example, if the minimum requirement was to purchase 100,000 units and each of those units equaled $1, right? If one unit equaled $1, obviously you would have to come up with $100,000 in order to participate. So you see why in the Forex only banks were eligible, because only banks usually have that type of money, right? Okay, and where did they get that money? From us. We were putting our money into their accounts, and they were able to participate and trade and buy and turn this $100,000 into $1 million or $7 million, okay, of our money, okay, or sometimes even lost it, okay. All right, so they were able to do this because they were able to get a margin count. Now, we're able to do this now because we have a margin account, and the requirements are still the same, okay. We would have to have a standard account which required 100,000 units, okay, and now we're given something called leverage, okay. So now these brokers allow us to participate in this system, okay, by offering us these margin accounts, okay, and not only offering us margin accounts, but they give leverage with these accounts, okay, and the leverage that they're giving it varies, okay. I don't want to get into the leverage right now, but in other words, what the leverage will allow you to do is this. The leverage will allow you, okay, to purchase the same 100,000 units. And depending on the broker, some brokers will give you 50 to 1 leverage. Some brokers will give you 100 to 1 leverage. Some will give you 500 to 1 leverage. Others will give you 700 to 1 leverage. And others yet go to the main extreme and will give you 1,000 to 1 leverage, depending on the broker. These leverages will now allow you to purchase 100,000 units without having $100,000 or more, okay? So that's what these brokers are allowing us to do. So now, because we have these brokers, okay, which act as, yes, they do act as the middlemen, okay, but these brokerages now allow us to operate margin accounts, okay? And now, as a result of these margin accounts, now we can purchase and participate and be able to purchase 100,000 units, starting off with $50. Some brokers allow you to start off with 10. Some will allow you to start off with even $20 to even purchase 100,000 units because of the leverage that allows us to now participate and now we don't need $100,000 to participate and make money in the market. Okay, so our $50 or $20 and our $10 will act as leverage towards $100,000. Okay, this one here represents the 100,000 units. Okay, so we are going to be trading as though we have 50,000 compared to the 100,000 units. Okay, or 100,000 compared to 100,000 units. Okay, etc. All right, so let's get into understanding more about managing this this margin account. Okay, very important concepts to understand, and these are going to lead us into the tools of understanding what is going on. And let's talk about the market. Now, the market. The margin accounts are affected by the market. Okay, and we talked about market volatility. Here's an example of volatility. Here's an example of not so volatile, but still movements. There's small movements up and down, okay, but still movements nonetheless. Okay, now once we enter the market, okay, and right here we're going to give an example of the Forex market purchase. Okay, our broker allows us to purchase many different commodities from many different markets, but let's talk about a Forex purchase. Okay, this thing here represents our purchase, and our money is tied up here, and let's say we have $500 in our margin account to start with. Now, and we happen to purchase the euro dollar pair. Okay, the moment we purchase this, our margin level percent ends up at 1,500. This is a good place to start because the rule of thumb is this. If you don't learn anything in this video, and this is so confusing, okay, and you do need time to go back and review this information, one thing that I want you to learn and take away from this is this main number one lesson. And the main number one lesson that I want you to learn is this. Always keep your margin level percent near at or above 1,000%. Remember that. Okay? And I'll explain more about this statement. There's more to this statement. Okay? That's what this is here. This analogy is explaining. Now here at the bottom, we see these sharks. This whole thing, remember, this whole thing represents our margin account, right? So these sharks, they represent the bottom of the ocean. So you got that zero there, right? Not too happy. Sad, actually. And it represents 0%. You get down there, you lose 100%. You lose everything. Your goal is to avoid having your investment fall down here. That's your goal. You don't want that to happen. Okay? Now, your investment will need to move and travel. Okay? The goal of your investment is to reach the profit area where you're going to collect. Okay? All right? So obviously there's an element of time. Okay? We talked about the element of time, right? So we got volatility here and we got time being exercised all at once. Okay? But something happens when you make your investment. The market begins to operate. Here, the market brings your investment down quite considerably. And this is where we're going to talk about a couple of things, okay? And what we're going to talk about here is, if this happens, your market purchase loses value. As your market purchase loses value, a couple of things happen. Okay, the Euro USD loses value. One thing that happens is this. Okay, it was $500 at first. One thing that happens is this. Your investment now, let's say, is worth about $300. Okay, you're not in profit at all. Obviously, your account is at $200. Okay, so we minus the 3 from the 5. Okay, so you lost about $300. Okay, you're in a loss of $300. Okay. Now, your margin level percent drops considerably because a volatile situation took place. And let's just say you're at 1100 margin level percent. This thing here, this red thing here, is called drawdown. Now, since we are long-term investors and we're expecting this investment to reach its goal, reach its destination, right? We're still expecting and we're hoping that it will. This is a risk that we take. And this risk is highly dependent on a critical key factor, and that's if and only if this investment is going in the right direction, okay? This investment must be going in the right direction, or the correct direction, okay? So this is the correct way to do it. What I'm showing you here is the correct way to make your investment, okay? Now, with this drawdown, something happens. An emotion sets in, and that emotion is fear. There's several ways to eliminate this emotion when we're talking about managing risk, okay? One way is to set your stop loss, fear of losing everything, but that will not completely eliminate the fear. This will be eliminated by embracing the market and understanding and going through this experience, okay? That's the ultimate way. The only way you can completely and fully, truly eliminate is to actually allow yourself to go through the trouble and then through experience realize you're going to get out of it, okay? Because you're embracing the market. That's just the way the market is, okay? So, now, something else happens. Usually at this stage, people do several things. They panic, they close it, and then they end up just accepting their losses, not understanding. Now, if you understood that your margin level percent is still safe, okay, remember the rule here, right? Your margin level percent is still safe, okay? If you understood that, you would let your investment alone. If you understood that you're going in the right direction, you will leave your investment alone. There will be no fear involved, or less fear to none. Okay? Very important to understand this, okay? Here is when people will start to let go of their investment. They'll start to panic, all kind of things. And then here, the market just happens to do an extreme volatility. It was a huge volatile drop, okay? So that really brought panic. But guess what? Something else is really the best thing to do here. Really the best thing to do here is to actually buy more, okay? You would buy more that would allow you to